What's good, y'all? I've got some really nice buffs and changes for Lumineon, who was significantly changed from the last time I recorded this video. Pretty sure that one got like a crap load of views for some reason. But in this case, I actually ended up changing Luminescent, or rather scrapping it entirely from the game. And as a result, I had to go back and change all the Pokemon that had the ability Luminescent. And in this case, I chose to give Lumineon Drizzle as its secondary ability because there was already a hell of a lot of overlap with the other water and fairy types, of which there's like a good amount in this game. And I couldn't give anything like Marvel Scale, as cool as it would be, because that's one of the quote-unquote illegal abilities, since you can go into the fight with a burn already, and it's kind of like not super fair. But Drizzle is a really good ability and fits really damn well for the Minion. It's kind of boring, but it's very strong and it fits well. And then of course you still have that Swift Swim for that speed, and of course the power if you want to set up the ring with somebody else. So essentially you can set it up yourself and use Choice Scarf or Quiver Dance or Lunar Dance to boost your speed. Lunar Dance functions like Quiver Dance used to, while Quiver Dance is just old. Quiver Dance is Special Dragon Dance, while Lunar Dance is old Quiver Dance. That's a good way to put it. Power Glow, that's from Tail Glow, gives you +3 special attack, so under Swift Swim specifically, that's very good. Without Swift Swim, it's kind of ass. I wouldn't bother running it. You can always just use Calm Mind anyways, until you get Lunar Dance, which is just strictly better than that. I mean, technically, I guess Calm Mind has 3 BP, while Lunar Dance has 2. But look, my point is, Luminescent was very bad. It was literally just a 10% accuracy boost, which is like cool and all, but in a ROM hack like this, like that's not enough. All Pokemon are super strong and have all types of really fun tools that they can use now. Every single Pokemon is heavily reworked. Every single move is, for the most part, heavily reworked. You can check those out in the description down below. If you look on the Google Sheet, it's linked right there. And if you look right here, it said search all moves here. There's all types of other useful guides on this Google Sheet, but the most important one is by far the master list of all the moves. You can click these little categories and it'll automatically direct you to what the moves do now, or you can just scroll and read accordingly, or you can what's it called? You can Control+F to search for a specific move to see what it does now, or what the new move does if it's a new move. But yeah, I highly recommend giving that a look. With that being said, though, Lumineon, it's super strong. It's kind of boring. Like I said, Drizzle is not like the most. Oh my god, wow, a water type of Drizzle, like how creative. It's the only ability that doesn't overlap with the other water fairy types that also makes Lumineon, worth using, or, a strong Pokemon for this hack's standards. So yeah, 109 special attack with Drizzle, it's very, very strong. You can always use Choice Scarf or just bulkier sets with Drizzle. You do have Rehydrate, which is water type recover, so that's good with your good special defense stat, solid HP stat, and solid defense stat. Again, you have speed boosting options. You also get agility earlier in the game if you want to use that with Drizzle. Otherwise, you can use Swift Swim with the buffed Damp Rock. So either you can use Damp Rock on your Lumineon with Drizzle to activate another ally's rain, ability or rain strategy, or you can do that with your ally, because most Pokemon learn Rain Dance via TM. You can teach it to them, give them Parting Shot, U-Turn, or Volt Switch, which most Pokemon learn one of those 3 now in this hack. And then you can go to town, switch into your Lumineon. Now you got 9 full turns of Swift Swim to abuse, which is more than you'd ever want. You can click setup moves. However, keep in mind that there are dozens of new priority moves in this game. In this case, Finneon and Lumineon get Gust, Silver Gale, Bubble Shot, and Pixie Dust for priority. But specifically First Impression, which Fairy no longer resists Bug. So, strong First Impressions are going to, force your Lumineon out, unless you're running max HP, and then you can actually potentially live one, which is really cool, because with Swift Swim you actually don't need speed investment whatsoever. You can outspeed pretty much everything in the game, unboosted of course, with just max HP, max special attack, and that's a really great trait with Swift Swim. Meanwhile, Drizzle, of course, if you're running a fast Drizzle set, at least has to run speed investment, or theoretically you could minimize your speed EVs and just run a Choice Scarf and speed creep whatever's in front of you, because not only do you have an infinite use ability capsule in this ROM hack available from the beginning, you also have instant EV training put into place. So what you can do is, for certain boss fights, you can put in 20 speed EVs with a Choice Scarf to outspeed the specific Pokemon on the opponent's side or whatever, and use that with Drizzle or Swift Swim or whatever it is. So you have a lot of flexibility in your EV spreads. Tons of great coverage moves. Nothing too crazy, but Water and Fairy is already pretty good dual stab. You do get Signal Beam, 80 base power, Ominous Wind, Shadow Ball, Psychic, and then 110 base power Flash Cannon. And then of course Ice moves, like, I don't know if I said this already, but Ice Beam and of course Blizzard. You also get Hurricane and Air Slash, so that's pretty much all you'd ever really want. It's nothing like too crazy. I don't really see Aura Sphere, although I am very generous with that move. I know they're Fairy type now, but I just don't like it on them. And they have all the coverage they really want, regardless. They have great utility, dual screens. You've got Haze, which is priority. That's good for like Totem Lurantis specifically, or you could keep it even for Totem Togedemaru if you wanted, or even Totem Mimikyu. Z-Soak will give you +2 special attacks, so you can use that in the rain and kind of abuse it. And also it's good for utility because it'll change the opponent's type, obviously. Charm is nice utility as well for that point in the game, for like the mid-20s versus the totems. Rakala Island. Water Sport is learnt just in time for Totem Marowak. Disarming Voice and Aurora Beam and Ominous Wind and Water Pulse, all 4 of those moves will always drop the opponent's attack and special attack by -1. So you have Dual Stab, Disarming Voice, Water Pulse, 60 base power, and then you have Aurora Beam, which is actually 70 base power, so it's actually a good coverage move for earlier in the game. And of course, it's great utility because it drops those attacking stats. So in general, Lumineon can be a great bulkier Pokemon or a great faster offensive one. It can be great support with Drizzle when you turn and go into your ally and abuse it and run a full bulk set with Rehydrate. You've got all types of possibilities with your Lumineon. So depending on your IVs, your nature, your specific playstyle, say if you're doing a team-locked hardcore Nuzlocke versus just a casual playthrough, your sets will differ greatly. So it really is up to you which of the options you want to take advantage of and which ones you don't. And you have very powerful attacks late game as well, like Hydro Cannon, which is essentially water type Draco Meteor now. It's 150 base power. You have Radiant Outburst, which is actually a stronger version of Flare Cannon, and that obviously fits the whole light theme going on, which is also, by the way, why Lumineon is now Fairy type. I didn't even really elaborate on that. I feel like it's just a pretty self-explanatory type change for a ROM hack. I'm not saying it should have been Water Fairy in the real games, but like, it fits for a ROM hack. Its whole thing is talking about like looking like stars shining in the night sky, and it's just all about light and glowing and stuff. So, and it's color scheme and just overall prettiness fits the fairy typing nicely. So that's why I chose to give it that. And it also just makes it a lot more unique from the other pure water types, because there's already a pure water type with Swift Swim. There's already a pure water type with several pure water types with Drizzle, and this makes him better offensively as well, and also marginally better defensively. Although, of course, you do gain a couple weaknesses to... Well, you only get 1 weakness, and you lose a resistance to Steel, and you gain a weakness to Poison, which isn't the end of the world. Yeah, very solid Pokemon, very strong, bulky, can be really fast with all the boosting options that you get, or Choice Scarf, or whatever you want to run. Setup Sweeping in general is pretty heavily nerfed, though, so I would be careful of that. I would say, like, you could try to cheese, like, a max HP, max defense, Lunar Dance, Rehydrate set. You could try to do that, but in general, I wouldn't try sweeping. I would say if you want to sweep, I would go with Swift Swim for certain boss fights. And I mean, it depends on the situation. You can always use... worst case, you kill like 2 or 3 Pokemon, right? But if you're doing a hardcore Nuzlocke, you got to be careful not to let your Lumineon faint. And also, you have to be careful with juggling your level up moves, because you have no move learner until the end of the game. So you might want your priority moves. For example, I would keep Bubble Shot because it's just a strong... for certain boss fights, you can just use Specs, Drizzle, Bubble Shot, and kill faster offensive threats. So I would recommend keeping Bubble Shot. It's up to you, though, of course. If you have other priority moves on your team at that point, you can probably afford to get rid of it. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it. And I'll be back for maybe a few more re-records at best, but I'm pretty sure this is it for a while. So thanks for sticking with me, y'all. Peace.